Welcome back, Woodchurch. I am so excited to find out what's going to happen in the next chapter. You've been leaving some amazing predictions. I really hope Henry survives. So, let's carry on and find out. The door to the freezer wouldn't open. Charlie pulled again. He put both hands on the handle, braced himself and tugged with all of his strength. But it was no good. The freezer door was stuck fast. Either it was ice, or some tremendous force inside the freezer was holding the door shut. Charlie tried again. He banged on the freezer. He twisted, pulled, had a short rest, and then tried again. "Henry! Henry!" he called, pummeling the door. "What do you think you're doing, Charlie Bone?" Charlie whirled round to see Cook standing in the doorway. Charlie began. "Cook, there's a boy in the freezer! I don't know if he's dead or gone. You see, he might have, but I've got to know." "Lord save us!" cried Cook, almost knocking Charlie off his feet as she charged to the freezer. With one mighty heave, she pulled open the door. Henry was crouched at the bottom, under a huge frozen carcass. His face was blue, and his hair and cape were covered in frost. "Heavens above!" exclaimed Cook, as she pulled Henry out of the freezer. He was cold and stiff, but Charlie was relieved to hear him give a small groan as Cook gathered him into her arms. "Follow me, Charlie Bone," she commanded. "You'd better tell me what this is all about." Cook crashed her way through the door, across the kitchen, and into a broom cupboard. But as they walked in, it ended up being a long, softly lit, hidden corridor. Even though she was carrying Henry, Cook walked so fast, Charlie found it hard to keep up with her. At the end of the corridor, several steps led down to another small cupboard, and this opened into one of the cosiest rooms that Charlie had ever seen. Bright pictures hung all around the room, from just beneath the very low ceiling, almost to the floor. The chairs looked old and soft, and a gleaming ancient dresser had been filled with gold-patterned cups and plates. In a deep alcove, there was a large black stove. A kettle boiled on the top. White bright coals flickered in a window at the bottom. They filled the room with a warm, glowing light. Cook laid Henry in a large armchair beside the stove and began rubbing his hands. As she did this, Henry's stiff fingers relaxed and the time twister dropped to the floor. "What's that?" said Cook. "It's, a time twister," said Charlie. "Huh," grunted Cook, not at all surprised. "I might have known it always causes trouble. Put it in that red mug on the dresser, but don't look at it." "I won't," said Charlie. He picked up the shining marble and dropped it into the mug. Vivid colours spun and twisted inside the mug, and Charlie was tempted to wait and see what sort of picture they would make. "Don't look, Charlie!" Cook warned again. No, I won't." Charlie stepped away from the dresser. Cook continued to rub Henry's fingers, but he didn't stir or make a sound. She looked at Charlie and said, "You stupid boy! You of all people, Charlie Bone! What were you thinking?" "I was trying to help," whispered Charlie. "Help? Help? Murder more like," Cook said coldly. No, I didn't. Who is this boy?" It took Charlie a few seconds to remember his exact relationship to Henry. Very slowly he said, "He's my great-great-uncle Henry, I think. But I just call him cousin. He came from 1916. "And the time twister's responsible, I presume?" "Yeah. Poor Henry's come a long way. I mean, he's come a long way through time." "I'll say," said Cook. "Get my dressing gown." She nodded at a large red garment lying over a chair. Charlie picked it up and brought it over. "Now, take off this poor boy's cape." Cook gently lifted Henry out of a chair, while Charlie took off the frost-covered cape. On Cook's instructions, he wrapped his cousin in the big red dressing gown, but still, Henry showed no new sign of life. Cook felt the frozen boy's pulse, shook her head, and then put her ear to his heart. "Something," she murmured. "Something's there." Charlie felt terrible. He sank into a chair and covered his face with his hands. "All's not lost," said Cook. "They are here." Charlie heard a faint mewing above his head. He looked up to see a skylight with small green glass panes. Peering through the glass were 3 cats with glowing yellow eyes. "The flames!" breathed Charlie. "Yes, the flames. Mind out, Charlie." Charlie jumped out of a chair as Cook came towards him. She climbed on the chair and opened the skylight. A blast of cold air and a shower of snow brought one of the cats sliding down onto the back of a chair. He was a handsome creature with deep copper-coloured fur. "Aries!" said Charlie. The cat gave a long, welcoming meow. "You know these creatures, then?" said Cook, as an orange cat and then a yellow followed Aries. They landed on either side of him and greeted Charlie with loud purring noises. "Leo and Sagittarius," said Charlie. "Yes, I know the flames, and I think I know what they're about to do." The 3 cats leapt down from the chair and ran over to Henry. Charlie could hear the crackle of tiny flames as the cats rubbed their heads against the dressing gown. They began to circle the chair, where Henry's blue-tinged face rested on a faded cushion. Cook closed the skylight and stepped off the chair. "They saved my friend's dog," Charlie told Cook, "and I think they've saved a lot of people. But I can't understand how they know where they're needed." "Sixth sense," said Cook. "Now, hush. Let them do their work." Charlie sank into a chair opposite Henry. Already he could feel the heat from the cats as they ran around the frozen boy. Soon, all Charlie could see was a bright golden-red streak circling Henry's chair. Charlie yawned. His head drooped and his eyes closed. In a few minutes he had drifted off to sleep. When he woke up, Henry, still wearing the red dressing gown, was sitting up and smiling at him. He held a mug of something steamy and sweet-smelling. "Hello again, Charlie," said Henry. Charlie blinked and rubbed his eyes. "I'm sorry, Henry," he said. "It didn't work, did it? I tried to get you out or something, but something, I don't know what, seemed to be fighting me." Henry nodded. "I'm going to stay here with Cook," he said. "No one knows about this room, so I'll be safe until we can decide what to do next." Cook was bustling round the stove. She took a tray of small cakes out of the oven and shook them onto a plate. "Take one of these," she said, offering the cakes to Charlie, "and then I think you'd better creep back off to bed." "Thanks." Charlie took a cake and bit into it. It was delicious. "Very good," he said quietly. "It wasn't your fault, Charlie," said Cook, guessing Charlie's thoughts. "I shouldn't have been so quick to blame you. You of all people." "Why do you keep saying that?" asked Charlie. "Me of all people? What do you mean?" "I'll tell you another time." Charlie looked up at Cook. For a moment, her face changed, and he glimpsed another face behind Cook's lined, worn features. A face that was young and beautiful. He would have liked to hold the moment for a long time. He never felt as warm and safe as he did right now, sitting in Cook's wide shadow, with the glowing room behind her, the humming of the stove, and the deep, contented purring of the 3 cats as they sipped a bowl of milk before the fire. "Who are you?" he asked Cook. "Me?" she smiled. "I'm the lodestone of the house. I keep you all from flying off into the dark." "But your name?" "Another time." "Can I come back tomorrow?" asked Charlie. "You wanted to know so much." "Better not," said Cook. "Wait a while. Certain persons will be watching you. And not just persons." She nodded at a fat form that had appeared from the shadows at the back of the room. Blessed the dog waddled into the light. It was obvious that he wanted to sit in front of the stove, but the 3 cats gave warning growls, and the old dog retreated. "I've seen him before," exclaimed Henry. "He's very old, isn't he?" "He's a spy," said Cook. "So if you've seen him, he's already told someone about you. Charlie Bone, you'd better go back now. Someone in your room might have noticed your bed's empty." Charlie swallowed the last of the cake and said goodnight to his cousin. Then he followed Cook through the labyrinth of cupboards and passages that led to the hall. Here, Cook took a small torch from her pocket and gave it to Charlie. "It has a good light," she said. "Off you go now, and don't tell anyone about tonight, and I mean anyone." "My best friends already know about Henry." Cook shook her head. "Can't be helped, I suppose, but the fewer people who know about this place, the better." "Okay, I promise I won't tell anybody where he is." Cook watched Charlie cross the hall and begin to mount the stairs. She gave him a quick wave and walked speedily back to her room beneath the city. She was pleased to see that Henry Eubeam had fallen into a deep and untroubled sleep. Taking the empty mug out of his warm hand, she replaced it on the dresser. The three cats had finished their meal and were looking up at her expectantly, so she stepped onto the chair beneath the skylight and opened it once more. The flames ran onto the chair, jumped up onto the back, and from there leapt out through the skylight. "Thank you, my dears," called Cook. She fastened the skylight and stepped off the chair. "Now, for you," she said to the fat dog that had moved into his favourite place before the stove. "I know what you are," Cook said to Blessed, "but you've been a good boy up to now, and kept my room secret, even from your friend Billy Raven." Blessed looked at Cook and whined softly. "Now listen, don't you dare tell that friend of yours about this boy." She pointed to Henry, asleep in the big armchair. Blessed stared at Cook with sad brown eyes. Although she didn't speak his language, he knew her well enough to understand exactly what she was saying. "If you give the game away, there'll be no more of Cook's chops, no more bed by the stove, or walks in the park. You'd be out on your ear, for you're of no use to me, you lazy lump of lard. I've only mothered you out of the goodness of my heart." She wagged a finger at him. "Are we clear about this?" Blessed grunted and heaved himself into the basket. He knew when he was well off. Right, so fortunately Henry is alive and safe, and he's being looked after by Cook. Cook's an interesting character. I wonder what makes her special, because there's a lot of things about her starting to appear in the book now, and she seems to be on Charlie's side. I wonder who she is. I wonder if Blessed is going to reveal any secrets to anybody. I just don't know what's going to happen next. Why don't you make a prediction and let me know what you think? And tune in tomorrow to find out if you're right.